Corrupt and disgraced pastor Bishop Lamar Whitehead thought he could fool everyone, but the rules is finally over after what took place today in federal court. He just got sentenced to a lot of time in prison. And before we can touch on that, we have to rewind a little bit and give you guys the full context. So if you already watched part one, where I broke down everything, then you can skip to part two. But if you haven't, then you're in for a treat. And this is the full story of how Bishop Lamar Whitehead is on his way to prison. The millionaire pastor Bishop Lamar Whitehead, life is over after this recent court verdict. A lot of us discovered who Bishop Lamar Whitehead was right around the same time. We found out when he went viral for being robbed during a church sermon, where robbers came in and stole $1 million worth of jewelry from off his body.
When I laid down on the floor, when the young men came and put the gun to my back, as y'all see on the video, they took my watch, took my jewelry, took my bishop's ring, and then they took my bishop's cross, and he ripped my collar off just to get to my jewelry.
When the robbery footage was going viral and then he told us how much they stole from him, a lot of us were skeptical because Bishop Lamar Whitehead was a pastor of a church that included 48 people that was usually empty. Like, his services usually had about 15 people in attendance. So how could he afford $1 million in jewelry? Right? And why would he wear $1 million in jewelry to church? Especially because his church was in the hood. Now, a lot of people was smelling something funny and thought he probably paid those dudes to come and rob him or pretend to rob him so he could file an insurance claim and then over appraise his jewelry. So his jewelry is probably worth like $20,000. He would have told them folks it was worth $1 million to get some money back, right? A scam. So, but nobody could really prove it, so we sort of forgot about it. And Bishop Lamar Whitehead was sort of a sympathetic figure for getting robbed on live stream, as a pastor of a church conducting a sermon. But then the sympathy went away fairly quickly because people started to realize there were some character flaws with Bishop Lamar Whitehead. See, a video went viral of him attacking a woman in church that people wasn't feeling at all.
Why they take pictures and they want to be on social media. Take the pictures. 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 Okay, now go over here. Go over here. Grab her out. Grab her out. Now you're going to grab her out. Grab her out.
That was Bishop Lamar M. Whitehead at his church in Brooklyn, New York this past Sunday, where he was giving a sermon, and he says a woman who was being disruptive then walked up to him, and he said he felt threatened by this woman, he and his wife and his child. So part of this was captured on surveillance video. Let's take a look.
Yeah, come on up here. Come on up here. I'm going to make you famous.
Pastors are human too, but people are expecting a pastor who is leading a congregation, who is a man of God, to have a tad bit more discipline than what Bishop Lamar Whitehead exercised. Now, he would give an explanation as to why he attacked the lady, despite the fact that he invited her up.
I keep saying that I invite her in the pulpit. You have to be a minister to be in the pulpit in my church. So she came on the side, and she began to yell at me. She began to cuss me out and say whatever she wanted to say. I let her say what she wanted to say, and I'm going to be posting more video because you guys didn't see the video inside of the church. What you guys don't see on camera is that she started to walk back to leave, and then she spit back around. And she came back after my wife and my daughter. So I have my wife and my daughter, who's 10 months old, sitting there, and she came and said, and now you're a liar, going towards my wife. And that's when you see her walk in front of me, going at my wife and my daughter, and I grabbed her.
His explanation didn't earn him any new supporters. People were not happy with his explanation at all. They actually felt it was like an excuse, and they was pissed. So the sympathy that he once had from the public and, the beloved persona he once had was absolutely gone, bro. People were turning on this dude right and left. Seeing how undisciplined he is and how violent he is sort of added to the laundry list of things that people were skeptical about regarding Bishop Lamar Whitehead. Right? Now, people were extremely skeptical because he didn't carry himself like a pastor, talk like a pastor, act like a pastor, and he didn't live like a pastor. The dude was boastful, braggadocious, Like, the dude manned a church full of 48, I guess, official members, but only about 10 to 15 show up on a given Sunday. But this dude somehow had a Rolls Royce and had a mansion, and he wasn't shy about showing off his wealth. I don't care what y'all say, but this is straight Pookie behavior. He's recorded himself at the Louis store walking out with bags. Like, why are you a pastor and this boastful and braggadocious, bro? Like, why are you this vain? Congregation, nor us who was just watching from an outside perspective, didn't know at the time, but him being boastful and braggadocious was the least of our worries when dealing with Bishop Lamar Whitehead. Now, a lot of people were wondering and pressing the issue of trying to know, where is his wealth coming from? Dude doesn't own a big church. Like, he's not receiving enough donations to be living in a $4.5 million mansion and have, $500,000 cars. Where is his wealth coming from? Well, the next debacle for Bishop Lamar Whitehead, which are civil lawsuits, would expose exactly where his money is coming from, and it wasn't coming from an ethical place. An elderly lady called Pauline, who became a new member of Bishop Lamar's church, would expose him. You see, she was only in his church for about 4 months before he would approach her with, in hindsight, what would be a scam.
And him. 4 months after joining the church, Pauline underwent a major surgery and received a get-well-soon phone call from the pastor. Just a few months later, Pauline received another call from the man, and this time he wanted to talk about money. Pauline had always wanted to buy herself a home for her and her family, but her credit score had taken some hits over the years, and she was turned down by every lender she approached. Despite having a deposit saved, she was never able to secure a loan. Enter her savior, Lamar Whitehead. Lamar told her about his experience with mortgage broking and offered her a solution to her credit problem. In exchange for her deposit, he would buy a home in her name through his company, Lamar Whitehead, Inc. Lamar assured Pauline that her deposit would cover the house and any repairs it needed, and would also leave a little bit left over, which he would return to her with some interest.
His initial proposal to her was confusing and should have alerted a lot of red flags. He promised her that he would return her some of the money with interest, but why would he need to give her interest if he was only using her money to purchase a home? But she didn't catch the red flag because she was really desperate. She wanted a home and didn't have the credit to purchase a home, but she had a lot of cash to do so. And people like Bishop Lamar Whitehead, they prey on people who are in a bad spot, and they prey on the vulnerable and the desperate, which would appear to be what he did.
Pauline had no job after having surgery, and the deposit was everything she had to her name, including her retirement fund. Although Lamar had helped her son buy a home, she was still cautious of doing business with the bishop. To put her worries to rest, Lamar offered her a $100 monthly stipend, which he would pay until she moved into her new home. That promise did the trick, and on the 30th of November 2020, Pauline wrote a check to Lamar's business for $90,000. For 6 months, Pauline never received a single $100 monthly stipend and heard nothing about her new home despite constantly contacting Lamar for an update. Every time she did manage to get through to him, he would tell her he was too busy with his campaign running for Brooklyn Borough President. By mid-2021, Pauline suspected that there was never going to be any house.
This is some really bold stuff from this dude. He scammed her 4 months after she joined his church. That's insane. Now, he was moving and ignoring her as if she didn't know where his church was, or as if she didn't know people who were in the congregation. It's as if he was depending on her being bedridden and super sick and ill and too tired to chase around, him for her deposit, right? Now, check it though. Now, here's the thing, right? So while he's ignoring her though, the dude is purchasing other homes. Now, apparently because him and her son has done business in the past, he accidentally forwarded her son some documents that shows that he just put down a huge deposit on a $4 million home. That deposit could cover the money that he owed Miss Pauline.
But she knew for sure this was the case when her son received an interesting email from Lamar. Pauline had been introduced to Lamar by her son Rashid. Rashid had supported his mom in investing in Lamar's company, but when he realized Pauline was being scammed, he was the one who attempted to convince Lamar to give the money back. Rashid repeatedly texted and emailed Lamar until one day he got a reply, but it wasn't the reply he expected. Lamar had accidentally sent an email regarding a down payment on a $4.5 million home in Saddle River to Rashid. The email outlined some details about the down payment on the home. The amount discussed would have been more than enough to repay his mother's investment. But when he told Lamar about the email and demanded that he return Pauline's money, he received a text from Lamar that said, quote, "I'm in awe of how the devil is using you. However, I knew it was coming. Now beware of the hand of judgment will hit your life and everything that's connected to you. And for the record, anything that was given to me is a donation unless it's attached to a contract. I was making investments. That's what I do."
This scumbag is now telling Pauline's son that Pauline gave him a donation and it wasn't an investment, which is clearly a lie, right? Because why would she give you $90,000, everything she has in her life savings, just as a donation? Like, stop it, bro. But he was pretty much playing with this family and playing with Pauline, and he forced their hand into just outright suing him.
In 2021, a federal lawsuit was filed against Lamar Whitehead for his part in fleecing Pauline of her life savings. But it wasn't only Pauline that he had taken advantage of. The lawsuit also indicted Lamar on charges of using force to try and get a businessman to pay him $5,000. Lamar also attempted to get the same businessman to lend him $500,000 and give him a stake in high-end real estate transactions.
So not only did he scam Miss Pauline out of $90,000, but he tried to extort a businessman by the name of Brandon out of like $500,000 and other perks and privileges. So they sued Bishop Lamar Whitehead for fraud. Now here's the thing. After they filed a civil suit, the civil suit wasn't even concluded. But apparently the feds seen enough to where they say, yeah, bro, you on some F-ish, bro. And they filed a criminal indictment on Bishop Lamar Whitehead.
The Brooklyn pastor who made headlines when he was robbed of expensive jewelry during a live-streamed church service has been indicted on federal charges.
Among the allegations against Lamar Whitehead, that he scammed a parishioner out of $90,000. And as CBS 2's Christina Fan reports, this isn't his first time in trouble with the law.
A normally flashy Bishop Lamar Whitehead was silent outside federal court as his attorney denied all fraud allegations against him. The Brooklyn pastor, known for delivering sermons in designer suits and lavish jewels at Leaders of Tomorrow International Ministries, is being accused by federal prosecutors of obtaining part of his wealth illegally.
Bishop Lamar Whitehead is not guilty of these charges. We are vigorously going to defend these accusations.
According to an unsealed indictment, Whitehead asked for money and other things of value from victims using threats and false promises. He allegedly convinced a parishioner to invest $90,000 of her retirement savings with him, but spent it all on himself. He is also accused of extorting a businessman of $5,000, then convincing the victim to lend him $500,000 more and give him a stake in real estate transactions in return for favors from the city government, which Whitehead knew he could not obtain.
Bishop Lamar had a real close friendship with Mayor Eric Adams, the mayor of New York. So he will leverage their relationship to get money out of people and promising them favors from the city government that he wouldn't deliver on because he was just lying and saying whatever to extract money from out of people. And that caught up with him.
The bishop was arrested Monday morning and pleaded not guilty in court before he was released on a $500,000 bond.
After the indictment, his church took a really big hit. He would claim that he lost about 95% of his members due to the false claims from the media. Now, he will go ahead and try to do damage control, but even in his interview after being indicted, he couldn't answer basic questions. So they would ask him, yo, where did your money come from? He will say his money came from real estate.
When I think about the fact that you have access to millions potentially of dollars in clothing, cars, and then when you add your home, you have the life of a multi-millionaire. Where do you get your money from?
Well, you know, I am an entrepreneur, man. I'm very, I've been doing real estate over 20 years. And I do a lot of other legal things. I want to clear that up. And, I take that from the Bible. The Bible says, God says to inherit the land. Also,
Like what? Like what, though? Give me some specifics. Give me some specifics, bro, because people will be like what? You do real estate? And when you say real estate, you mean flipping properties? You mean you have rentals?
Yeah,
How do you get money on real estate?
Real estate is multifaceted. You know, you can flip properties, which I do, rentals, which I do. We into purchasing land, developing on land.
Then they will ask him, okay, is this public record? Can somebody go online and see that you own real estate? And he would say, yeah, if they knew my corporations. Then they ask, okay, what are your corporations? And he would say he doesn't want to give that answer.
When people check the public record, they'll be able to see that you buy and own property, commercial or residential. They'll be able to see that you flip property. They'll be able to see that you have an event. This is transparent and fully accessible to the public. Is that fair to say?
Of course, it's transparent, but however, you have to understand that when you buy investment properties, you don't buy it under your name. You buy it in corporation. So, unless you know who owns.
What corporation is yours under?
I can't get into all that, Mark, man, because I'm already being targeted, man. You want me to get here and put all my business out there, man?
I gotta ask.
They targeted me enough, man, and I don't want to keep putting my information out.
All right. Look,
that right there is just lingo for it, nigga. I'm scamming. Now I don't know what y'all expected. Like y'all really expected a pastor who behaves like a rapper to be on the up and up? Stop it. Now, as it pertains to his fraud charges, he'll respond back by saying that he was set up.
You were also charged in December of 2022 with fraud, extortion, and making false statements.
The indictment is public records, brother, and I really don't want to get into that. As per my attorneys, I really can't tap into the indictment, nor can I tap into the case. But what I can tap into is that I was set up. That's what I can tap into.
By who? Who set you up?
Well, if you read the New Yorker,
who set you up?
His name is clear as day, Brandon Belmonte. And he went to the federal agents, the feds, and told them nothing but lies about myself and the mayor. And I need y'all to understand that this is not really about Bishop Whitehead, but this is all political. And this is to take down our second black mayor of New York City. He knew that Mayor Adams was my mentor, and if you read the New Yorker, he said that the mayor of New York is trying to extort him, and that's what started everything. He went to the feds and told them a lie about the mayor of New York, and the feds picked it up, and they believed his lies.
The guy Brandon himself is kind of sketchy, so he thought he found a plug to the mayor, and he thought he could pay his way into favors from the city. But Mayor Eric Adams isn't really as corrupt as Bishop Lamar. So Bishop Lamar is the corrupt one and he's the criminal. He was just being mentored by Mayor Eric Adams. So Brandon thought he could buy himself favors from Mayor Eric Adams through Bishop Lamar, but Lamar was just taking the money and keeping Brandon on skates. Eventually, Brandon had enough and told the FBI, yo, bro, like, I'm being extorted by Mayor Eric Adams. But he thought that Mayor Eric Adams and Bishop Lamar was in cahoots when in fact it was just Bishop Lamar taking his money. So that's why Mayor Eric Adams is coming into play. But this is not no witch hunt against Mayor Eric Adams. It's just a misunderstanding because Bishop Lamar was taking money under the guise of he's gonna, orchestrate or middleman the favor between Eric Adams and this dude with some cash. Now, Bishop Lamar was real confident that he was gonna be found not guilty. He says he was innocent, but his confidence came to an end when he was found guilty on all charges yesterday.
Lamar Whitehead facing decades in prison after a jury convicted him today on federal charges, including wire fraud and attempted extortion. Prosecutors say he ripped off a parishioner's retirement savings, and tonight her family is speaking for the first time to News 4's Chris Jose.
It's been an emotional roller coaster for the past 4 years.
Rashid Anderson relieved tonight following the conviction of Lamar Whitehead, better known as the Bling Bishop for his lavish lifestyle. A Manhattan federal jury today finding Whitehead guilty of defrauding a parishioner and trying to extort a businessman.
It's been a long time coming, and we're very happy to see that the verdict was guilty today.
Rashid's mother, Pauline Anderson, invested $90,000 of her retirement savings with Whitehead. Prosecutors said he spent the money on luxury goods at Louis Vuitton and Foot Locker and even used Anderson's money to make his car payments. Rashid testified during the trial. You and your mother trusted this guy.
Yeah, we trusted him a lot.
Whitehead not yet publicly commenting on his conviction, which also includes charges that he tried to force a Bronx businessman to lend him $500,000 while promising access to Mayor Adams. Whitehead claimed he knows the mayor on a personal level. The bishop going to social media after his arrest in December 2022.
Just because you was arrested doesn't make you guilty.
This is one of those dudes who just don't know when to give up. See, his motto before he was found guilty was just because you're arrested doesn't mean you're guilty. And now his motto is just because you're found guilty doesn't mean you're guilty. Here is his laughable excuse for why he was found guilty on all charges in a court of law.
Why was Bishop Whitehead on trial? This was not about Bishop Whitehead, y'all. This was politically driven. This was about Mayor Eric Adams, okay? And let me explain this to you. Everybody knows that me and the mayor were close. He was a mentor of mine. On June the 8th, the FBI came to my house and said to me that I wasn't arrested. I wasn't under arrest, but they had a search warrant to take my phone. Within the search warrant had everything to do with the mayor. See, these are the things that you guys don't know. And what they said to me was, we don't want you. We want the mayor of New York. That's what happened. This was politically driven. You to understand that I am innocent. 10 toes down, y'all. 10 toes down. The bishop is 10 toes down. And I know it looked crazy right now. I know I was found guilty, but there's more to the story. There's more to the story, and I just want y'all to understand. We need to be praying for our leaders. Pray for me, y'all. Even if you feel that I've done something wrong, pray for me. But I will not be an informant against the mayor of New York, and that's just what it was.
So we have an update, but before we give the update on exactly what the sentence is, let's take a look at a very recent interview that Bishop Lamar Whitehead did, pretty much denying everything and antagonizing the legal system.
And that's my model. So a lot of people, Bishop, who have made up their own opinion about you without ever knowing you, felt justified when you went to court. Mm-hmm. So you're just coming out of court, and I want us to talk about that journey for you, that faith walk that you're.
Bro, bro, you mean a felony walk, bro? What? Bro, bro, it's a felony walk, bro. He went to court and left out a felon, bro. Bro, God has nothing to do with this, bro. Bro, y'all are insane.
In presently, and the courts in New York said that an older woman got defrauded and found you guilty. I want you to talk about what were the charges and where you are now.
So, as the world know, I was found guilty of 5 charges. The first charge was wire fraud. It was defrauding Pauline Anderson for $90,000. The second charge was
Pauline Anderson, the lady's name.
Yes.
And this old lady, how old is she?
She's only 50, I think 3 years old. She's not old at all.
Bro, cut the. What do you mean, bro? She's an older lady, bro. Especially, bro. If you're 53 in the hood, bro, like if you're like a 53-year-old woman in the hood who don't really have no type of extensive college education, you know, you're just somebody, bro, who worked hard your whole life, saved up a lot. You feel me? And you got something now, you know, to retire on, and you give it to somebody like Bishop Lamar Whitehead, and he scams you. It's gonna hurt, bro. 53 years old is like it's old in the hood, bro. Like don't let this cap because. It's old. 53 years old is old in the hood.
This is all the hype, right? This is all the hype.
Okay.
Elderly lady. Oh, now you're not supposed to take from nobody, but they put extra to it. to make me look like just this bad pastor, right? Because you have to understand, Jamal, the reason why people don't like Bishop is for two reasons, right? He set up the robbery at his church, and he robbed the old lady.
Yeah.
When you clear up those two narratives, now what?
Yeah.
Right? So we cleared up the robbery already. I didn't set it up. Now let's clear this up, right? So,
bro, you've been convicted. Like the clearing up time was when you went to court. You've been convicted, bro. It's over with. Like, bro, you're not, stop, bro. What's wrong with these people, bro? Yo, can you not ever admit fault and take your consequences?
The second charge is attempt wire fraud of Brandon Belmonte. They never even said what was attempted to be taken at all, right? They said it was a building, and they said it was money. Attempt extortion was the third charge, where they said that I was extorting Brandon Belmonte, right, for $5,000.
Now, Brandon related to this old lady, how?
No, Rashid Anderson was her son, but Brandon Belmonte was a federal informant that played as if he's a victim because they wanted to take down the mayor, Eric Adams. So we're going to get into that.
Yeah.
And then the fourth charge was lying to an FBI agent. Okay, we're going to talk about that. And the fifth charge was wire fraud for an allegedly trying to take $250,000. So let's go to the first count, Pauline Anderson. Now, before I can get to the first count, I got to tell you guys the entire picture. So Mayor Eric Adams is the second black mayor of New York City.
That's right.
And everybody knows that me and Eric are very close.
Yeah.
I am one of the top 3 closest to him, period, right? And we have gained a relationship. He's been my mentor for...
Bro, he's going about this. Bro, he's about to go on a whole spiel. Bro, let's put this shit like on like 2X, bro. Yo, he about to go through like a whole spiel about how, like, you know, they're trying to tear down a black man. Bro, cut it out, man.
A long time. And he's poured into me. We've never did any business. Never, right? And so my wife car had got into an accident. So this gentleman, Brandon Belmonte, he owned a body shop. He was introduced to me through another friend of mine. So he was like, yeah, I rent cars and I got a body shop. If you need me, let me know. So my sister-in-law car got into an accident first. He fixed that car. So I said, he did a good job with that. Let him do my wife's car. So my wife got into an accident. Somebody hit her car. And I said, brother, I need you to fix it. He said, all right, cool. I'm going to send you a rental car. I said, no problem. So he sends me a rental car, comes pick the car up, my wife's car, but the rental car he gave me was broken.
Oh, Lord.
Now, my daughter was just born, right? My baby. And she was born in November, so she's 3 months old, screaming, yelling. And so my wife, I told him that my wife's car was into an accident. He said that, all right, cool, I'll give you a rental car. You don't have to worry about anything, and I'll come pick your wife's car up. So he comes pick my wife's car up, and then he sends a rental car. Now, the rental car doesn't work. It was an Escalade 2020 Escalade, and it doesn't work. My wife calls me and says, it's shaking. I said, just get out the car. I'll take care. So I called him. He said, listen, whatever you have to pay for another rental car, I'll give it back. No problem. I did not know that he was a federal informant, right? Now I know this.
Right.
And now it's starting to make sense. So he never was fixing the car, And I would go down there and I said, yo, the car's still the same. Wow. So we would be arguing about the car, right? So he would call me knowing that he just already agitated me, and he's recording me, and I didn't even know he was recording me. So he's recording me in rage and in anger. And this is how he's saying that I extorted him, because I told him I need my $5,000 so I can do what I need to do. You're not going to get away with my $5,000. So now we're in the months of March, and he's like, all right, don't worry about it. I'm going to give you the money. Listen, I got some property that I want to sell you. I know I'll be watching your videos, and I want you to, I own properties in the Bronx. So I said, all right, cool. Let me know, because what I wanted to do, I wanted to buy more apartment complexes so I can house homeless and shelter people there.
Yeah.
So.
Yo, so the man who gave you a broken rental car, you trusted him enough for him to give you a house?
I didn't know that he was lying to me about all of this. But yet, the FBI was already involved with him. And now they have created this whole narrative that I'm trying to get property from him in exchange for favors with the mayor. But I'm just telling you information that I know now, but then I didn't know. So he's just telling me about properties that he owned that I want to purchase, right?
Yo, he's speaking about this as if he didn't go to court and get proven guilty. Like, he's speaking about this as if this is just some type of accusation still. Brother, like the time has came and went. Look, like, it's no longer an accusation. Like, you have went to court and got found guilty of doing these things. You are guilty.
He didn't own the properties. He never sent me any of the properties. So now I'm saying to him, brother, you are playing games with me. I don't need nothing from you. Finish my wife's car, give me my $5,000 and go your way, right? So he began to argue with me. I didn't know I'm being recorded. Yeah. So now he's making it seem like I'm violent. But no, I'm arguing with you about my wife's car. I'm arguing with you about giving me what I need. So then he says, listen, I'm going to bring the money to you or whatever. I'm going to bring the money to you and we're going to take care of it. So he comes to my house. He brings the $5,000 and he says, listen. So he told me how him and his father has a hard money company, and I own a 40-unit complex, and I was doing renovations. And he was like, in Connecticut. Okay. So, and by the way, I own, as an African-American, I own the largest piece of property in Hartford, Connecticut. Wow. As African-American, yeah. Wow. Yeah. And this is another reason why I'm being attacked.
Yo, this guy is unreal, bro. Yo, I feel like the I'm being attacked because I'm an African-American play like would have probably went over well before you got convicted, right? Like if it's like, man, bro, these are some false accusations, man. They trying to railroad me. All right, cool, bro. Like we can listen up to it, bro. All right. But after you're convicted, it's over with, bro. And there's a lot of African Americans who are doing a lot of great things, bro. If you think the federal government is gonna go after you, bro, because you own some real estate, man, like give it up, bro.
Right, and they know this, right? So, so now I'm renovating out there. He's like, listen, since we're gonna do business, because he's trying to clean everything up. Now, since we're gonna do business, I want you to let us lend you the money or whatever. I said, all right, you can lend me the money, no problem. He started to renege on that. I'm saying, listen, send me your attorney's information. Here's my attorney information. He's reneging on that. Wow. Now that I do know what's going on, they're recording me. And the FBI and him are working together. So now he goes to the FBI in April, but he was already with them. Yeah. He goes to the FBI in April and says, this man is trying to extort me, right? And he said, I put him on the phone with the mayor of New York, and the mayor of New York on FaceTime told him to do business with me, and we're going to do things under the table for him. So he tells that, and this is all in, and I want the world to understand this. This is all documented, and these are in statements called 302s, okay? So this is not privy to the world, right? So he says that I put him on FaceTime with the mayor of New York, Eric Adams, and Eric Adams told him to do business with me, and we're going to do big things, and we're going to do things under the table, and all this other stuff he said. So then he says that I told him that I was going to act like we're purchasing the properties, and I was going to get fraudulent federal grants for homeless shelters, right? Wow. But actually, I'm going to flip the building as free market rent. So all this is in my documentation, and these are all the lies that him and the FBI are teaming up to do. So now, the FBI, I'll go for a walk one day, and I'm going to get to Pauline so y'all can understand exactly why, how this whole thing came about. So in May, I went viral because they started to call me the Bling Bling Bishop when I turned the young man in. Because when I turned him in, I pulled up to the precinct in my Rolls Royce, and I had a Fendi jacket on. So they called me the Bling Bling Bishop. They didn't care anything about the man who died or the man that killed him. It was all about the Bling Bling Bishop. Right. So now, a week later after that, the FBI was in front of my house. I go out for my morning walk. They jump out the car. Now, I know I'm working in a little backwards, but here is count 4. And y'all going to understand the line to the FBI, why they said it. Yeah. So when they jump out the car on me, they said, you're not under arrest, but we have a warrant for your phone, right? So I put my hands up. They snatched the phone out of my hand. I said, what is this about? So what is this about? He said, we have a warrant for your phone. If you want to talk, we can talk. I said, and they said, we got a warrant for your church. So people don't know this. Wow. Yeah, we got a warrant for your church. I said, for my church. So I said, can we get out of the streets? Because I don't want my neighbors to see all of this. And let's go inside of my home. And I got the video too, right? So we go inside of my house. And I said, what are you talking about? You got a warrant for my church. And why are y'all taking my phone? And he said, well, we heard his guns in your church. Wow. Right. Now, I want y'all to really put your thinking caps on, okay? This is June 8th. The FBI comes to my house and said, we heard you got guns in your church, okay? I said, guns in my church? I said, you kidding me? So they said, listen, we don't want you. We want the mayor of New York. We want you to help us get the mayor of New York. I said, what? I said,
pause you right.
But he also said, bro, this is all on camera, right? So okay. So he said, yo, we had this conversation in my home where there's nothing but cameras around. So wouldn't you have a recording of this conversation? Would you be able to play it? Now, I'm sure they came into his home. I'm sure they had a conversation with him, right? But for them to say, hey, bro, like, we don't want you, bro. We want the mayor of New York. Okay, cool. All right, cool. Then where's the recording at, right? But even if that's the case, bro, they can't scapegoat you if you didn't do the crime, right? You did some dirt. They showed up and said, hey, bro, we know the dirt you did, homie. You feel me? Give us what we want or else we gonna, prosecute you for the dirt. Now, I maybe give him too much credit, but I don't think this is listen, man. Like, if that's the case and he didn't turn on Mayor Eric Adams, then I guess that's cool, right? That's a good thing, right? He's probably solid. But this don't strike me as the type of dude, bro, who got integrity, morals, and principles, bro. Like, who would choose to go to jail instead of turning on his friend. Listen, I may be wrong, bro, but if you can scam $90,000, bro, from an older woman, bro, you would probably turn on your homie. I'm sorry.
Yeah, for 1 minute here. I'm a law school dropout, Mike. I've never taken a bar. I've never graduated from law school. Right. But I'm going to read you your rights because you're making some amazing claims against the FBI.
Right.
And so I want to pause for just one moment to just remind you the ops is watching.
I know.
You standing by this witness.
Yo, he's telling this guy, hey, bro, like you just got convicted. Like, you shouldn't be speaking like this on a podcast. Like, especially if you plan on filing an appeal, filing on doing certain things. You know, you don't want to agitate the judge when you get sentenced. You may want to stop. But he's so egotistical, bro, he keeps going.
That they are committed to bringing down this black mayor of New York. 1,000%. And that you are the casualty of your loyalty to friendship. 1,000%. Okay. 1,000%. Okay. So when we're on the side of my house, they're saying, you know, we want you to help us with the mayor. You know, I said, what? I said, listen, call my lawyer, right? So now, what I'm trying to do is, I said, let me get some numbers out of my phone so I can get somebody to open the church, because I was renting the building. And I said, I don't want y'all to kick the door down because it was a glass door. So I said, so they give me the phone numbers. So I leave, I go back in, and I tell my wife, yo, look, these FBI out there. And I told her what was going on. Yeah. So I tried to call the owners of the building. They wasn't picking up because this is like 6 a.m. So everybody sleep. I'm calling, couldn't get them. So I go back out and say, listen, I'm trying to get them. Just give me a minute. Make a long story short, I finally get them on the phone. I come back out and I said, look, she's going to open the door for you. Here's her number. Y'all can go. So they said, listen. So this is what they said to me. They said, do you have another cell phone that we can call you on? Because they just took this phone. Right. They said, do you have another cell phone that we can call you on? Let's just talk. We want to talk to you. I said, no. Call my lawyer. Right? They charged me for lying because they said that they asked me, yes, do I have another phone? You didn't ask me that. You wanted me to talk against the mayor. And you said, come on, do you have another cell phone that we can call you on? No, you can't call me on another cell phone. You have my lawyer, and that's it. You don't need to call me.
But they asked you, do you have another cell phone? Now, okay, obviously, like, we know the reason why they're asking. Like, they wasn't asking you that, all right? Probably to call you as well. But they was going to ask you that to see if you had another cell phone so they could confiscate that cell phone as well, bro. Bro, the cops are the most manipulative, lying pieces of you-know-what you are. So you did lie. You did have another cell phone, right? Like you did lie. You had another cell phone and you got caught. Bro, yo, if you telling the story on your behalf is making you look this bad, can you imagine what the actual truth is? Can you imagine what the actual truth is that we don't have, like, that we aren't privy to?
So for the count 4, lying to a federal agent, it was because of that. Wow. That's it. Wow. That's it. Right? Now, why in your mind and processing this, would they expend all of this energy on you and not use all of that energy on bringing down Mayor Adams when the FBI has a history of pulling down black leaders? Mm-hmm. So the thing about it is this, right? What I've learned now is that these FBI guys, they don't even want the truth, right? They don't even want the truth. Yes. If they can get somebody close to you that will lie, they got you. Yeah. Right? And I found that out to be found guilty of things that I did not commit. I'm 1,000% innocent, like 1,000%. Yeah. So you indict me and then you find me guilty of lying to an FBI agent when in the 302, in his statement, it says that he asked me, do I have another cell phone that I can call? Yeah. It says it there. Right. And I still get found guilty of it. Still get found. And the thing about it, and let me tell you this about what happened. So this FBI agent, right? The lead agent, right? He didn't testify. Actually, why? Why? Because he lied on 6 search warrants to the judge. Wow. Yeah. He lied on 6 search warrants to the judge. So when you look at the search warrant, right, there's something called an application affidavit for a search warrant. Yeah. So in order for you to get the search warrant, you have to give the judge a sworn statement saying, if we take this phone, we are going to get information out of this phone pertaining to whatever we're saying we're looking for. Right. So in the first 2 search warrants, it was all about the mayor, Eric Adams. The whole search warrant was about Eric Adams. Yeah. See, you guys don't know this because you don't have the search warrant. Yeah. Right? So all you can do is speculate. So all of the reasons for the search warrant was about Eric Adams. But they called him a New York State government official. That's what they called him. Yeah.
Man, get to the scamming, homie.
Evidence. They turn over the transcript. We get the chain of custody paperwork. It was recorded on May 5th. So they say by and only by the informant, Brandon Belmonte. Yeah. He used 2.
Get to the scamming, bro. But we got the FBI story with.
What they do is they will set a and we went through the whole trial. We said not one time. Was she a member of your church? Never. What they do is they will set, right, to purchase my own home, right? One we in right now? And in order for it to be a scheme, the FBI didn't have nothing on me. And what they had to do was make it look like a scheme. So this is why they needed Pauline Anderson. Wow. Okay. Pauline Anderson. I'm mind blown right now. Yeah, I'm just showing you guys how this worked and how this stuff was put together. Yeah. So Pauline Anderson was already suing me for $90,000 a year and a half ago. This was not nothing new. So what the FBI did was they needed to orchestrate and say that this was a scheme that Bishop Whitehead was doing. And in order for it to be a scheme, it has to be more than one person. It had to be 2 people. Right. So they pulled this civil case out and turned this civil case into a criminal matter. So now,
yeah, because you scammed her. Like you scammed her. Bro, it is criminal. Right? Like she probably ain't even have the resources to figure out how to make this like actually criminal.
Now in the civil case, they were suing me saying that I took $90,000 from them, right?
Yo, that's usually what happened when the FBI starts like with Diddy. That's usually what happens when the FBI starts looking into you, right? They go ahead and pull people, man, you feel me, who have grievances against you and figure out which grievances is real and which is not and which is criminal, right? So the FBI said, hey, wait, hold up, bro, you scammed her for $90,000. And apparently they were right because they took you to court and you got found guilty of scamming.
To purchase my own home, right?
One we in right now?
No, another one that I never purchased. That was all a lie.
Yeah.
The reason why Rasheed Anderson, who is her son, the reason why he did that was because I removed him out of my ministry. I need y'all to understand this. Pastors get attacked by disgruntled members, okay? So now he is upset that I removed him from my church, okay? And when I removed him from my church, I helped him get his own home. I married him. I paid his mortgage. I did so much for him and his wife, okay? Once he got his property, he wanted to be a part of my real estate firm. I said, well, brother, you got to have money in order to be a part of this. Right. He said, well, I got to try and get it. I'm going to ask some family members. I said, when you get it, you get it, whatever. So then he comes back to me and say, my mother and some other people are going to help me. So I said, okay, well, you do what you got to do with them or whatever. Right. So I didn't talk. Not one time I ever asked this lady for no money. And we went through the whole trial. Not one time.
Was she a member of your church?
Never.
The lady is not a member of your church.
She was never a member of my ministry. Never. She came to my church maybe once when her son got ordained as a minister.
Wow.
She was never a member of my ministry, never tithed. And I think she said she sold one time on the prayer line. She never even gave money in my church. Never. So now we have a disgruntled minister that has been removed from my ministry because he was disrespectful to other members.
Bro, what does this have to do, bro? Like, with you taking the $90,000, bro, like from this lady and never giving her money back? I understand, bro. Like, again, like when you're like a narcissist and an egomaniac, bro, you think the world is against you. But what does this have to do with you taking $90K from that woman, bro, and not giving her a penny back or a house?
And disrespectful to me. Right. So when I sat him down, right, the very next day he said, well, I want my money back. I said, you want your money back? I said, we have a contract. Didn't you give your mother her contract? Then since you said your mother gave you the money? Right. And I said, me and you have an oral contract that the money has to be in this firm for a year. And now all of a sudden you want this, you want it back because you got sat down. So his mother texted me for the first time. This is the first communication via text, via call. This is the first ever. And she said, we want the money back. And I said, man, you signed a contract with your son. You ain't have nothing to do with me. And she threatened me and said, because I was running for borough president during that time. So she said, I'm going to call the police. I'm going to call the police. I'm going to call the news. And I'm going to call your campaign. I said, do what you got to do then. You threatening me with what? Like for what?
Right.
So now, granted, this was for a year agreement. They had he just gave me the money November 30th, 2020. And now May 2021, it's only 5 months.
For a 1 year contract.
For a 1 year contract. Right? It's only 5 months. And I just gave him $6,000 because I gave him $5,000 because he said his mother wanted to purchase property in Jamaica. So I said, listen, you can't keep touching. This is it. So I gave him $5,000 and I gave him an additional $1,000 just to give to his mom because he said his agreement with his mother was giving her $100 a month for her loaning the money to him. Right. I never had nothing to do with it. Never had nothing to do with it. And we went through this with trial. I never texted this lady, never called this lady ever.
So they have you at this point facing how many years?
Well, the wire fraud deals with wire fraud. The maximum is 20 years for wire fraud. However, what they're saying the wire fraud is they said that I texted them.
Yeah, but now we know, bro. Yo, this guy is full of this, bro. But now we know exactly what the charge is. Bishop Whitehead was sentenced to 9 years in jail. 9 years. You feel me? So after going around this whole hoopla, how he was set up, he was being railroaded for being close to the mayor, bro. He got sentenced to 9 years in jail. He's probably gonna do, if I'm assuming, 85% of the fat time. Probably come out in 6. But yeah, man, this is the price of doing bad things, man. Again, Lamar Bishop Whitehead is guilty, absolutely guilty. He's crooked. I don't think he's a real man of God. You feel me? I think he's a fraud, bro. Even his IG following, bro. Dude got like 1.3 million followers, bro, but get like 100 likes on posts, right? He's a fraud in every aspect of the word fraud. Y'all let me know in the comment section. Do y'all feel like this was harsh enough or this was good enough? Let me know, all right? And if you're still watching, click on this video somewhere on my screen to find out about another Joe Bird called Taxstone who apparently dissed me and this other podcaster called Joe Budden. Click on this video right here to find out what I'm talking about. Out of here, folks.